Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This panel is about strengthening service lane customer retention and some strategies to use from sale to post warranty. I want to go ahead and introduce our panel today, which is hosted by RepairPal. With us today is Ron Overs, who is the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine, Tim Frank from the Ewald Automotive Group, Billy Lewis from Classic Toyota, Sean Butler is here from the Amansky Automotive Group, and Kathleen Long, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at RepairPal. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited about this panel. We've got a great topic, and Kathleen, if it's okay, I'd like to start off with you. You know, we've seen a lot of things happen this past year in 2022, and now here we are a couple weeks into the new year. There's been inventory shortages, things you could never have imagined, historically high vehicle prices and so on. Tell me a little bit, what are some of the benefits of focusing on customer retention?
Yeah, look, it has been a very eventful year, and in fact, a very eventful few years. Unprecedented, really, the stuff that's going on in the automotive industry. But one thing that I think has been true about the entire time I've been in the automotive industry is we say that a lot. It's an industry that's subject to a lot of change, and where we really are here to service the consumer, and the consumer's expectations continue to change as well. So, as environments are changing, consumers are changing, and our businesses have to keep up. And so, that's part of what RepairPal is here to solve for. We are a consumer mission focused company. We want to help consumers get the best deal they can in auto repair. And by that, we mean to have a great experience at the repair facilities that they're visiting. But in order to do that, we have to work with our dealers and our service lanes to make sure that they're integrating our tools so that the consumer is having the experience that they expect when they go to a RepairPal certified facility. So really important to focus on that consumer experience, especially when there's so much uncertainty in the world. If the consumer knows that they can count on you and your dealership and your service lane and your professionals, particularly at a moment that ends up being pretty vulnerable for a lot of consumers. Their freedom, AKA their automobile, has a problem. And they know that it's probably not going to be the cheapest thing that they've paid for all year, right? Because auto repair and quality auto repair has a price tag associated with it. And they want to know that they're getting a great deal, that they're getting the necessary repairs, that they're in the hands of a competent professional, and that they're not paying more than they need to in order to receive that service from a dealership. And that's where we help out.
And Kathleen, we have with us today 3 RepairPal certified dealers. I'm looking forward to hearing from them. Before I do, Kathleen, I want to come over to Ron Overs, our good friend at Fixed Ops Magazine, who is the publisher. Ron, you see and hear a lot of things that are happening in the industry. Tell us your perspective on customer retention, and how technology and transparency and how all this is coming to the forefront in 2023.
Thanks, Ted. This is a great panel, and it's a great question too, because I think 2023, absolutely retaining customers is going to be the big key. We don't see a big growth in production of automobiles, right? So the SAR is going to stay right around 12 million. And what most people forget is we crush 11 or 12 million cars a year. Okay, we take 12 million cars a year off the road. So we're in a churn, and people will be keeping their cars longer. People will be in them a long time, and we need to keep that customer at your store. And how you do that is, developing a relationship with that customer far beyond just trying to get, the next oil change out of them or the next set of tires. It's got to be far more than just that.
I love it, Ron. Ron, I want to ask each of our retailers here today how they encourage customers to service at the dealership and then return the next time they need service. And I'm going to come to Tim first, and then Billy, and then Sean. Tim, before I do, there was a Harvard Business study, Harvard Business Review, that said that if we increase retention by just 5%, it could increase profits by 25 to 85%. And the whole automotive industry is focused on it. Tim, what are you doing there at your group to encourage customers to service at the dealerships and then return to you for the next visit?
Right. So, retention of customers is a lot cheaper than acquisition, of course. So, what we really try to focus on is that moment where the vehicle has been purchased and having a really thorough sales to service handoff, right? Introducing to someone, this is going to be your advisor, this is going to be your manager, whatever the case may be. And using that part of that conversation to springboard into what would be the likely time that you would be due for your first service, right? And then get them into the system so we can start giving them reminders with the knowledge that, 4 or 5 months down the road, whatever the case may be, that day or time might not be ideal, but they have the ability then to adjust it and change it through the tools that we use at the dealership.
Yeah, I love it. So true. Same question. How do you encourage customers to service at your dealership in return? Billy, if you would.
So, again, retention key to everything right now. So, we found that, through electronic means or email, text messages, or even on the write-up, it's getting them the information that they need now, and plus what they're going to need when they come back. Go ahead and plan that next service, give them pricing and menu information for what their next service is going to be, so there's no surprises, being as transparent as you can possibly be. And then, of course, your reminder system. Everybody wants to have a text message, let them know when they need to come back. They're not going to rely on the car to tell them. So we find that helps more than anything else with the retention, is just having all that information out there ahead of time and letting them know what to expect the next time they come in.
Kathleen, I'm hearing that word transparency, and I gotta compliment RepairPal, because I think you've been a big part in sharing that message in the last few years, and how transparency, Kathleen, has come to the forefront on the retail side.
Yeah, and that's been a great transformation to watch, honestly. So transparency changed the way that people buy cars, and now transparency is changing the way people look at repairs and service as well. And so it's been exciting for me to be a part of that.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua, and they are doing work on our apartment building today. So, of course, he wants everyone to know that he's, in his mind, he's a very large dog. So he wants everyone to know that. He's really only 7 pounds, and his barking doesn't matter, but he thinks it does, and that's the important part.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Sean, let me come over to you. We've talked about this on numerous occasions. How do you encourage customers to service at your dealerships and then return to you? Because I know you've been in a whole rebuilding mode at the 3 stores that you oversee.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we inherited. It's pretty much like starting over. So it's all about gaining customers and retention. We're really focusing. The stores are really doing well with the used cars, right? So we're focusing on that used car retention. That's a big piece. You got to remember, we haven't been selling very many new cars for the last couple of years. So if you haven't been doing things to retain your used car customers, you're missing a big segment of the business. When you get your people coming in, we're doing the mailers, we're doing the emails, we're doing X time reminders for the services due. I got people in the BDC doing, I'm pulling all the stops out to try to retain customers, like Tim and Billy mentioned. I'm also doing things like get your 3 oil changes, get the 4th one free, key tags, other car in the driveway. If you got another car, bring that one too. We're being very aggressive with retention. RepairPal has been a big piece of it. We signed up right away. Almost as soon as I got here, I initiated that process and got it started working with Danny and Jeanette and Ryan and now Kathleen. It's so easy and transparent, right? When you're on the drive and you can say, oh, well, you don't have to check, 4 other places. Let's check them for you right here. Let's click the little $ sign on our website. The advisors keep it pulled up, and it's about transparency and being honest and having integrity. I will fire somebody for trying to sell something they don't need, their customer's car don't need. I'm that serious about it, because that's what gives us a bad name, and price perception is what we have to overcome.
Tim, it's amazing how almost everybody walking around today has that phone in their hand, right? And they have the ability to fact check us and use technology on their own terms. And they do fact check us. Tim, how important is that transparency factor, at your location there in Wisconsin?
Well, it's immensely important, as Billy and Sean both said, to have the ability to throw some prices out there and say, hey, look at, this is now the unknown is now the known, right? And the customer can see that, and they can see that the repair facility that they're looking at fits into that bucket. And I think that's the biggest fear, right? If you don't know what's wrong with your vehicle and you've got to take it someplace, you're hoping that the people you're dealing with is trustworthy, and this is bringing that to the forefront and really showing it.
Wow. Billy, I got to come to you. We're talking about this technology. Customers have extremely high expectations. I think those expectations are just going off the chart. I mean, compared to what happened, in the last 3 years, a lot of things have changed in all of retail, especially automotive. Billy, how do we help create a memorable experience, on that service drive, so that that leaves a strong impression on our consumer?
Yeah, it all starts with your people, your advisors, to your facility, to customers. Like you said, they're expecting everything now, from pickup and delivery to instant shuttle service or Uber or whatever you can offer them to get them where they need to be, and quick turnaround time. How quick you can get them in and out. I mean, we've done more expansion on the express side than anywhere else in the shop. Is just to get them in, get them done, get them out, and as fast as we possibly can. So, adding in people on that side of it just to increase that. Because again, if they're happy with their time and their basic maintenance and quickness, then they're more likely to come back. Mm-hmm. And that's really where it starts, and it's all with the people.
I love it. Ron, can you ever recall a time like this when there's so much focused on service and parts, as well as all this technology piece and the consumer being aware? I've never seen anything like it, Ron.
And nor have I, and you and I together have been at this for a lot of years. And it's exciting to see, because the technology is bringing a better experience for the customer at the end of the day. The ability to text message to the customer and keep them apprised of what's going on, things like that. That's not brand new, but it's gotten better and better. This year's version of that, 2023, is far different than what 2020 looked like when you were sending somebody a quick little, text message. So I think the technology piece is great. I think if it's well used, and it's part of a consultative selling process, in service, where you're not trying to force someone to do something. You're trying to give them the reasons why now is the time to do what you're asking them to do, and to make it sound like it's a reasonable response, and not the assumption that they have $2,000 spare dollars in their pocket to give you today for some repair. That's just not a normal expectation for a consumer walking in to get their car fixed. So, really working with a customer, developing a relationship, like all of you said and are doing, and finding out that, your communication with them has to be continual. It's not, hey, we're going to catch them once a quarter and try to get them on their oil change. It's got to be all the time, just something about something, so that they know you care about them in life more than just, the next service fix.
Right.
Kathleen, I'm thinking that this is the new expectation. Consumers, once they experience this transparency, and, as everyone's talking about the texting, this is all the norm. If I went somewhere and they didn't do that, Kathleen, I would think something is not quite right. But I think the consumer now is expecting that transparency, and any dealership that does not offer that, I think, would be at a disadvantage. What do you think?
I completely agree. And look, if we're not crafting intentional consumer experiences, then the consumer is going to craft their own. And they're going to do it by cobbling together, whatever resources or information they may have at their disposal. It might be high quality information, but chances are it's not. Might be that they end up with a good experience, but chances are they don't. So the chances for something to go wrong, when we're not creating and curating that experience for them, when we're not intentionally taking them through step by step, explaining to them what's about to happen, being transparent about the cost, showing them, reputable sources like RepairPal that they can use to validate the information that they're getting from you. It's like, look, I want you to trust me. And, I have these third-party resources and this experience that I've curated for you that are going to help you to understand what I'm telling you and that are going to validate the results that you're getting here at my dealership. That's incredibly powerful, because if you don't do that for them, they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do the research. And sometimes they're going to do that research after they've already visited you, after they've paid you. And silently, they're going to decide that you did something wrong and you're never going to see them again. And that's actually the biggest danger. It's not the customer that's complaining to you in the service drive and making life difficult for your advisor. It's the one that silently goes away that you never hear from again. And that's the biggest loss in this business, really. And it's so many of the customers today. And, we're here to solve that, that silent disappearing of the customer. An average age of the car on the road, as you know, Ted, it just continues to increase. So many customers are post warranty, like everybody's been saying. And so really, we can't rely on that warranty piece to be the primary retention tool anymore. Plus, there are the other added services that the dealership can service all the way along. We don't want the customer going somewhere else for tires during the warranty period. We don't want the customer going somewhere else for wearables or these other things that, maybe aren't covered by the factory warranty. We want them coming back to the service facility they trust, all in one place to go for all these services. And, obviously the dealership's going to make that easy, like Billy was talking about, and the dealership's going to back that up with tools that show that they're fair priced, high quality, consumers getting a great deal. And they're going to work with their consumer to make sure that they can afford it and that they get in for service regularly, because of course that's going to prevent bigger problems and bigger price tags down the line.
Sean, Kathleen has said this before, that consumers have a choice of a lot of different information, right? And not all of that third-party information out there is created equal. And to be able to, as she just said, to craft that experience and to be intentional about it at the dealership level. Sean, how important do you think that is now and moving forward in all the things that we're going to be doing?
Well, I think, in an Amazon world, when if you don't like it, you can hit the button and buy it instantly. It gets delivered. If you don't like it, you just take it and drop it back off. That's created a whole different dynamic for us. And then, like Billy and Tim said, and Mr. Overs, it's about that customer experience. I equate it to going to the doctor's office. So when you go to the doctor's office and they're going to tell you what's going on, right? And they're going to weigh you and they're going to, measure you and they're going to take your temperature, going to do all of these things. It kind of goes with the greeting, right? The warm welcome and thank you for coming in and doing the walk around. Customers expect those things. We have to go that extra step with following it up like every 20 to 30 minutes with updating them. The express service, like Billy said, we didn't even have an express service at the Honda store when we got it. Now we're Honda Elite. We're getting cars in and out in under 45 minutes. And but we're lining it up, right? People don't have $2,000 like Ron said a lot of times. But anybody who's been through this before, 93, 94, 07, 08, right? We know that people will cut off their right arm instead of buying a new car when they get scared. So therefore, we have to be prepared and we have to line it up for customers and not make it scary. You have to present it in such a way that it's palatable, that they understand it, go overboard, and prioritize it for them. That's a huge piece. You can't just throw it out there and we, present and shut up, right? Everybody knows that. But as soon as somebody says, well, I don't have that, you have to prioritize it and make it about their safety, about their comfortability, and about, the longevity of their vehicle. I've extended my marketing all the way back to 04 vehicles. It was set for 10 years old. I've gone all the way back after I've studied the numbers coming in. And nobody here has said anything that is not good advice so far.
I want to talk to all of you about post-warranty customers. Before I do, Tim, I got to come back to you because before we got started, you and I were chatting in the green room. You've got a number of brands that you sell and service there at your locations. But you've also got a brand that's not a typical automotive brand that you sell and service. Talk to about that and if these things apply as well to that brand.
Well, we're talking about Airstream trailers in addition to the Fords and the Chevy Buicks and Chryslers and Kias. So those customers are unique. They are brand loyal, almost fanatically so. And they want a very specific type of experience. And everything that we've talked about really plays into that field. It's all about the experience. It's all about the communication, the being visible, the transparency. Physical wows, they've got a shelf life, right? They might work once, but after that, you're not really going to have much there. So in that Airstream world, the only difference is instead of talking about a piece of trim or a mechanical component necessarily, it might be the kitchen sink or the shower, right? So you're in there and you need to be communicated with, and they need to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Tim, Kathleen mentioned the average age of the vehicle. I know I had a conversation with Art Shaw at RepairPal, the CEO, who told me last fall it was 12 plus years. And now Kathleen and I were talking recently, it's coming up on 13 years, average age of the vehicle. Tim, what about post-warranty? Customers had their vehicle a number of years. We're all talking here about inventory shortages and, perhaps people now keeping their vehicles a little bit longer. What's your strategy for winning over those post-warranty service customers?
Well, hopefully it starts while they're still in warranty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're taking care of them during that opportunity that you have for them. So then when you get to that window of opportunity where it's likely there might be more stuff going on with their vehicle, they don't have a preconceived notion that maybe someplace else might be quicker or less money or whatever the case may be. So again, that goes back to transparency and the experiences beforehand. I'm going to shamelessly plug the people over at Traver Connect and John Traver, because they've got a relationship management program that we've used quite successfully, and they do a very good job of helping stay in contact with those people and making sure that they know where the place to go if they need something.
John is a great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable and a personal friend of mine for over 30 years, and a lot of integrity there, Tim. So, that's a great name. Billy, you've got a busy shop. You got a lot of things going on, a lot of product with that Toyota, but I know you get a lot of that post-warranty consumers as well. What are some of your strategies there as well?
Again, like you said, it starts when they're in warranty or the free oil changes at the manufacturer's guild. I mean, that's our audition for the customer, really. I mean, Toyota paid to get them there the first time or the first 3 or 4. And if they like you and they trust what you do, then they're more likely to come back. And just being open to with, what they're looking at when it gets out of warranty, what the expenses are going to be, and, try to coach them and encourage them to come back. But it really, again, back to the people. If they like you and they trust you, they're going to continue to come back. And, we're fortunate in the Toyota world, people do maintain their cars for a long period of time. And we talk about, mileage and age. We're almost at 15 years and almost 170,000 miles average.
Wow.
With these cars coming in now. So it just keeps going up and up and up. And these people are repairing these cars. So, we just see it growing every day.
Wow. Sean, what about you over at your locations?
I'm seeing much the same thing that Tim and Billy are, but one of the big things is that we have the employee experience, right? When customers come in and they see your employees interacting and happy to be there and everybody's, using the 10-foot rule and greeting people, that transcends so much that you don't even realize when people feel comfortable. I mean, I see it in some of the remarks on the surveys, right? They're like, everybody there was so nice and they were nice to the other people. It wasn't just me. Those kind of things make people want to come back, and setting the expectations for the next visit. That's hugely important, right? You don't want somebody coming in on a Toyota when they've had all their Toyota cares and all of a sudden you whammy them with the 329, 30,000 mile service. They have to know that's coming. It's the same thing in Honda, same thing Acura, Mazda. If you're telling them what's coming next, they're educated. They know. You're telling them about your website. You're telling them about using RepairPal. I even have my BDC people using RepairPal to give people. They can quickly give them a range of what the customer's talking about on the phone. It's not that hard, right? They got it pulled up right there. I'm okay with that. If they're giving them a range, they're not pinning them down anything. They're just giving them an idea. Some people won't come in unless they have an idea what it's going to cost them. Okay, let's give them an idea. But the employee experience just transcends everything. It makes the customers feel special. We've also started using videos. And we're getting a huge response to the video presentations.
Define that when you say using videos. Who's using the
Video
videos?
MPI. We're using True Video to call them out by name. I think they're a member of the show. They've been on here before. And we started Mazda basically forced you to do something with videos to get that factory money. And I was like, okay, well, we were having problems with our, scheduling provider, shall we say. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but we weren't getting it to work. So I reached out to the guys from True Video, and it was after, a Pick Stop show, Ted, that I saw them, and came in, boom. That's what they concentrate. That's what they do. It works flawlessly, and we're meeting the factory numbers, and we're getting a huge response from the customers. They really appreciate the transparency. To throw that word out there again.
Kathleen, coming back to you, that transparency keeps hitting home. How does RepairPal help service lanes all across the country improve their customer retention? Since that is our topic today, retaining customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just what Sean was describing. We show a price range for many mid to major mechanical repairs, as well as regular service intervals, other things. That is a fair price range. It's not the lowest price or a race to the bottom in any way. It's a fair price for a quality automotive repair. What I like to say on the consumer side of the business is there's nothing more expensive than a cheap auto repair. So we don't stand for that. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create the transparency and the fairness, and we're trying to allow those progressive dealers and dealer groups that are looking at ways of really exposing to the consumer, look, here's all the value you're getting, and here's how much that value should cost to utilize our tool in lane to improve retention, to improve that conversation, and to create that virtuous cycle. And what we've also seen, also to what all the gentlemen here were talking about today, is that it improves employee satisfaction because they can give the customer a quick answer. They can say, look, here's backup for what I'm telling you, so that, there's a trust halo that kind of extends to them. And happier employees, happier customers. And, and then that's where, like what Tim has done, you're transforming them from customers to fans. And once you have fans, then you're also thinking about growing your business now again, because they're telling other people. So that's what fanatics do. They don't keep their joy to themselves, right? So we've all been rooting for some sports probably in the past year or so, right? And so if you think about that experience of who you're rooting for, you want your dealership to be who your customers are rooting for. And when they do that, they're going to bring the other cars in their household. Maybe that they bought from you, maybe they didn't. They're going to bring their friends, their family, and they're going to talk to them about this. And that means you're having the opportunity to sell cars, whether new or used, and you're having the opportunity also to service those cars in the long term. That's what a really good retention strategy does, where there's not really a separation between the idea of selling someone something and the idea of servicing someone, because those two things are both high quality, crafted, and intentional experiences that leverage tools that allow you to be transparent, honest, and really customer focused and customer forward in those interactions. So that's what we work to help our dealers do.
Love it. Well, Kathleen, let me come around to everybody one more time, starting with Ron, and then I'll close with you, Kathleen. Ron, I see you have been taking a lot of notes, as have I, during this whole conversation. There's a lot of notes to be shared. What strikes you and what hits home, Ron, from what you've heard so far?
Thanks, Ted. And you're absolutely right. What I really get out of all of these is great little nuggets of information that makes so much sense. Talking about using RepairPal in BDC so that you can give someone a price range right on the phone to just calm their nerves down, to say, wait, it could cost between this range. Again, this is just an estimate, but if you wanted a number, here's a range of a number. And using a tool like that really would give tremendous confidence to people. You talked about, Kathleen, turning customers into fans, and you think of how many times other transactions in your life, price becomes irrelevant, right? You ask your wife or you ask your husband, hey, let's go out to dinner. We don't say, well, where's the cheapest chicken? We really don't, okay? It's like, where did we have the best experience? And let's go back there, okay? And that's really what it comes down to, is we want the car dealership to be the, those restaurants that we choose, not on price. In fact, most of the time, clearly we're not looking at the numbers. We're just looking at, hey, what's going to meet our palate. And that's what we want with an auto repair. We want our palate satisfied. And our palate is, I want the car fixed right the first time. And I want it brought back in a condition that's better than when I dropped it off. So I'm good to go. So, there's been great nuggets of information, Ted, through all of this. And I hope everyone has been scribbling notes like myself, which you may find in the next issue of Fixed Ops Magazine. It's been a lot of fun to go through and just hear people and actually responding, just off the top of their head. How does this really work for you? And then say, you know what? Let's use these tools, these great tools like RepairPal, and put them into full use so they can really benefit your store.
Tim, some parting words. And by the way, Tim, I took a lot of notes on the things that you've said, including what Ron just mentioned with the BDC. So some powerful stuff there.
Oh yeah, it's huge. The customers that we're talking about and some of the things that we're talking about, those are like amenities. I look at a RepairPal as like an amenity. It's like anything else I have in my customer lounge that I have for the customer satisfaction, for their comfort. And the more we can give them, the more comfortable they are with us, the better feedback they give us. They're more forgiving, more profitable, and we're all better off for it. So,
yeah, I love it. Thank you, Tim. Billy, last word. What do you think?
Well, getting to the RepairPal, I've used it for years. I've kept it on my phone probably since it came out. And I would tell, my advisors and people, even before we had this, dashboard and the other stuff that we can use now, that, there is a price out there that customers can see. We're going to quote them a price. There are ways for them to see it. So, we've,
Right.
when I, again, saw it in Fixed Ops Magazine, hey, they're looking for dealers, I called immediately. And we started talking and signed up for it. And, we've even expanded into our Express, doing all makes and models. And we put that on RepairPal. Hey, we'll service your car, bring it in. It's actually expanded our range of vehicles. And then hopefully those people come in, like us, and then buy cars too. So it's transitioning into a lot. But RepairPal has really helped us. Our business has increased. And, we're pretty sure that that's had a lot to do with it over this, last 6 months we've been on it. So great program.
And Billy, you're so right. RepairPal didn't just come on the scene last month or last year. They've got a long, established and successful track record. And I've been following the company since 2010. So, congratulations to all the things that they're doing now. You mentioned the dashboard and so on. Sean, over to you, and then I'll come to Kathleen to bring it home.
Yeah, I'm appreciative of this panel. I always learn so much with these, every time we do one of these. But let's remember, customers want to come back to the dealer. We have to give them a reason why, right? We have to we had a better building. We got better trained technicians. It's where they bought their car. It's where they're comfortable at, and as long as we're being transparent and we're educational and we're 100% over communicating. Who else is going to have a nice lounge with the TVs and the snacks and the shuttle and the shuttle service? Okay. Your independent shops typically don't offer that. Your Jiffy Lubes definitely don't, right? Your quick service places. Let's be what the customers want, and they want to be comfortable. RepairPal helps out.
Kathleen, if I'm a dealer or a retail manager watching and I want to become RepairPal certified, are you still able to take me on? Can I still join? What do I do?
Absolutely. So you can visit us online at repairpal.com/dealers. You can come see us at NADA. We're going to have a booth and a little cafe and a couple of exciting announcements there as well. So not to give anything away a few days early here, but so we would love to see folks there. Certainly give us a holler and, we would be happy to talk to you about it. We want dealerships who want to stand for the very best in customer service. And so if that sounds like your dealership, we would love to talk to you and give you a preview of what Tim, Billy, and Sean are using and how it might benefit you.
Great. I want to thank the panel today. Tim Frank from the Ewald Automotive Group, Billy Lewis from Classic Toyota, Sean Butler from the Yamansky Automotive Group. Thank you so much. Ron Overs, the publisher at Fixed Ops Magazine. Thank you so much for being, Ron, it's not every panel that you're on. It's rare that we get to see you, so really, really happy to have you here with this one as well.
Thank you, Ted. Really enjoyed it. This was a great time. And as I said, RepairPal is a great partner of ours. They contribute some amazing articles that really help you to learn more in depth on how to use their product and how to make things work better in your stores.
Yeah, all great stuff. And Kathleen Long, the Chief Revenue Officer of RepairPal. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for all that you do.
Thank you.
Everybody, the RepairPal panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks so much, guys.